Fine. Okay. So let us start. So we'll start with a new topic called signals and systems. Right. So signals and systems. So this is not a new topic. So this is actually, it can be called as a union of control systems and networks. So networks actually we will be dealing with the different kinds of waveforms which are nothing but the signals, and the control systems actually will be dealing with the different types of systems, right? So these two together actually we are studying a little bit deeper level, but actually whatever we have studied here itself actually it will cover around 80% of the knowledge. So 80% is already known, we can say, because the same thing actually whatever we have studied here in a more systematic way we are studying it again, right? But so in this actually first let us see two important factors. One is what is the weightage of this particular subject, weightage, and the syllabus and the books, right? So these aspects actually we will look at first, and then actually we can proceed further. Let me open the website. See this. So this is actually in the first paper actually it is going to get it. So we will see the weightage. So here actually topic wise weightage of electrical engineering optional for UPSC. So in this the second topic is the signals and systems. So this second topic, if you notice, the weightage is actually more or less equal to the network itself. Right? See this. So this is actually, so signals and systems. So this topic, it is getting 50 marks, but in the questions actually question number 3, question number 5, 7 and 8. Now why we have to specifically talk about these questions is, so this is a mandatory question. So that means actually if you leave that question, there is no choice. So no replacement for that. But other questions actually there are replacement. So this is the networks and this is the signals and system. And here actually this is a mandatory question. And this is a mandatory question. This is a mandatory question. This is a mandatory question, right? Now whichever is coming as question number 1 and question number 5, there is no replacement that you have to answer it. There is no other way, no choice for that. But if at all actually the question is coming or mixed with any other question, then actually you may have a choice like whether to attempt or not. You have the choice for other questions because question number 1 and 5 are mandatory, and remaining questions actually you can select any 3. Total actually you need to answer 5 questions, and 5 into 50, so total 250 marks. Got it? So this is how actually you need to think. Now in this actually, this particular topic actually directly we are getting 50 marks. And it is, if you notice, so this is actually in the networks also we have got 50, and EM theory also we have got 50, and analog electronics is 60. And more or less actually every question actually is getting around 50 marks on an average. That 50 marks actually we will be targeting with respect to this particular subject. And this is actually purely mathematical in nature. So this is purely mathematical. Right? So are actually only mathematical, we can say. Why? Because so signals are nothing but actually simply we were talking about the functions in mathematics. The function with the independent variable as time is called a signal. That means we were talking about the function and its properties. That is nothing but completely the signals. So signals is nothing but in mathematics terms function and its properties. That's it. And systems actually an interconnection of the signals. So an interconnection of the signals actually will lead to a different level of signal. And that signal actually if you take as output, whatever the interconnection parts that are there in between, those are called as the systems. Meaning, suppose let us say there is one signal here and there is one more signal here, and one signal actually we are taking as output. Now in between, so there may be a connection between these two signals, or there may be certain components and there may be another component, and output from this actually, so this is connected like this, and there is one more variable that is connected like this, and these two are connected, and finally you are taking as output. Now if you notice, once the signal entering into the system, there may be certain components which are connected, so that actually the signal state is going to be changed, meaning you are giving one input level and the output level actually is at a different level depending upon the component that is getting connected within that. So suppose actually if you give as a voltage, then inside actually if there is a resistance voltage division, then actually if you take the output from one resistance, definitely the value of the voltage is lesser than the input voltage. So like that actually there are certain interconnections. Again it will regenerate the signal in a different level, and that output actually we will take it. Hence actually a system can be defined as an interconnection of the signals, right? And obviously when there is a system, so we were talking about the output levels, so that actually we will be talking about different types of systems. So in the types of systems we will be talking about, right? So types of systems actually we say that, so linear time invariant system. Time invariant system meaning the system actually is not changing, it's on its own with respect to the time. So whatever is there here actually the same amount of, so same type of system is maintained every time. So in that case actually only the input signal is the one actually which is going to be changed, not the system. Got it? So the system actually at a different, so the same state is maintaining, and that is called as a linear time invariant system. For example, if you take a resistance, now the resistance actually which is at, so there is a resistance here, and for this resistance actually you have applied a voltage, and in this case actually initially if I apply the voltage, the normal room temperature is of 26 degrees, then at 26 degrees actually it starts producing its heat, right? So 26 degrees onwards actually it will produce. Now let us say I have connected this voltage source for some time and then actually I left it. Then actually let us say the initial temperature is of 50. So if the initial temperature is of 50, then if you connect it again, then actually it has to raise the temperature from 50 degrees onwards above. Now the state of the system is changed in the initial state versus now. So that's why actually, so this system actually can't be called as a linear time invariant system. So if this resistance is treated as a system, then actually it is changing with respect to time. So we will be analyzing the systems actually which are linear time invariant systems, right? So such kind of system, there are different scenarios, different types of signals we are going to analyze it, and different types of systems we are going to analyze it, and that process actually we are going to study as part of this signals and systems. Got it? And then actually, so this is in 2018. So 2018 we have got for signals and systems, so this is very less, only 10 marks, but actually I'm not sure, so maybe actually wrongly classified, because here actually this is 70 marks, right? So networks and signals and systems actually most of the times actually the questions are getting mixed each other. So because of that reason actually it might have overlapped here, but ideally it might have been 50 and the remaining might have been here. So this is actually 30 here, 50 and 30 you can think of, right? But it's not simply 10 marks. I don't think this is correct number, right? And then in the next year, so this is actually, again in 2017 we have got 60 marks, so 60 marks, and 2016, and this is for 40 marks, right? So on an average actually these two subjects actually maintain equal weightage. So these two, signals and systems and network theory, and this is 40 marks in 2015. I think that's it, right? So 40 marks in 2015, and this is how actually you are going to get the weightage of the marks. Now we'll see the syllabus as well. Yeah, right. So this is the syllabus we were talking about. Right, signals and systems. So in this actually a representation of continuous time and discrete time signals. So first actually we need to represent the signal in a graphical way. So that methodology actually we are going to learn as part of this representation of continuous time and discrete time signals. And then LTI systems, I told you, right? So linear time invariant systems and convolution. So convolution actually you have already learned the convolution technique actually as part of the Laplace transforms, where actually if there is a product, then actually the output inverse Laplace transform actually we are going to take it, because when we wanted to analyze the signals and systems, the input whatever we are going to give it, so that is the signal, and in between actually there is a system. That system actually it will be usually a differential equation. That differential equation is converted into Laplace domain. So the Laplace domain actually, if you take as an input as a signal and the output you are expecting, right? So that is actually, it has to do certain mathematical operations. In that, one important mathematical operation is the convolution, where if two systems are cascaded, then the output actually is a cascade of these two, which is a convolution of two different signals there. So that actually we are going to learn as part of this convolution. And then impulse response. So this is actually one type of input signal. So impulse response we are talking about. Response meaning output, right? So as I explained earlier, so if you give an input, suppose actually if there is a system like this, right? So if there is a system like this, and for this actually, let us say, so this is the Laplace transform is f of s. Then if you give the input signal as an impulse signal. So impulse signal meaning at one particular time actually there is an infinite amount of the force is there. And another time actually there is no force at all. So at momentarily in a fraction of second, there is a huge amount of the signal strength will be there. And before that and after that, there won't be any signal. Such kind of signal is called as an impulse signal. The importance of this impulse signal is the Laplace transform of this is 1. So the Laplace transform of delta of t, and this is equal to 1. So because of this reason, the output actually, if you wanted to calculate, so L inverse of, so output by input is the, so output divided by input. So this is the Laplace transform. So f of s, Laplace transform of the system. Now, if you want to calculate the output, output is equal to Laplace transform into input. And if you wanted to get the time domain analysis, you will be taking the L inverse of it. This L inverse, when you take it, the input Laplace transform is 1 itself. That means, so the input signal actually, it is a simple multiplication of 1. Hence, actually, straight away you are going to get the function f of t, which is nothing but the equivalent time domain of the representation of this particular system. So time domain representation of the system itself. That means if you give the impulse response, whatever is there in the system, actually you are getting that as the output. That's it. So because of that reason, the importance of this particular topic, so the importance of the impulse response actually is very high in this particular topic. Got it? And so, and then actually impulse response and time domain analysis of LTI systems, and based on convolution and differential and difference equations. So differential equation and the difference equation. So the difference between these two is we have already solved the differential equations, right? So differential equations are actually meant for the continuous signals. So continuous function, you might be aware of it, right? So the continuous function is nothing but, suppose if I am able to draw the line like this, suppose actually, so this is, let us say this is y-axis and this is x-axis. Now a continuous signal can be defined in this particular manner. Suppose if I start from here and then actually try to draw any random curve like this. Now from here to here, when I draw the curve, I didn't lift my pen. So without lifting my pen, if I could able to draw, then this is called as a continuous function. So this is the continuous function, right? A discrete function is the one, suppose actually I have drawn one line here. I have drawn one more line here. I have drawn one more line here. Now in this particular case, so I might be representing the same kind of pattern, like actually it's keep on increasing. Again, actually it is decreasing. But actually I am not putting at a continuous level. So at different points, actually I am identifying the same kind of signal as a pattern, but it's not a continuous one. So every time actually I am lifting my pen and then actually drawing it. Now this kind of signal actually is called as a discrete signal. So this is a discrete signal, right? Now, so whenever there is a signal or a function that is involved, the function actually, we can always have a differential equation for the family of the functions. So like in the similar manner, if there is a differential equation for the continuous function, there has to be difference equations. So difference equation actually, because the derivative is defined as dy by dx is equal to limit delta x tending to 0, f of x plus delta x minus f of x divided by delta x. So this is how actually we define the derivative. Now if you notice, there is a difference between the functional value and the independent variable. Now the same thing actually, if the function is continuous, actually at every point actually you can calculate it here. But if the function is discrete, then actually the function is defined at a discrete level. Then actually when you talk about the difference, so minimum actually between these two, or actually between these two, actually you need to take the difference. For a continuous discrete single, so for discrete difference equations, we will be taking the consecutive signals. So like this, actually we will take two different signals and then actually try to identify the functional difference divided by the difference of the independent variable, though it is a discrete. And that kind of differential equation, if you are going to form it, and that is called as the difference equation. So that is the main difference between differential and difference equation. Differential equation, whatever we do for the continuous functions, the same thing if you replicate for the discontinuous functions or the discrete functions, and that is called as a difference equation, right? So whenever there is a system, that system actually, depending upon the input signal, if you are giving a continuous input signal, for the analysis purpose, system needs to be modeled as a differential equation. Suppose if the input you are giving as the discrete signal, then the system needs to be modeled as difference equations, right? So difference equations model, actually you need to make it for the mathematical analysis purpose. So that actually we are going to learn. And then, so the Fourier transform and the Laplace transform, as I said earlier, so the time variable function, actually we wanted to convert into the frequency domain so that actually the analysis can be done very easily. So as I said earlier, in the Laplace transforms, that is the time domain analysis, actually if it leads to a differential equation, if you convert the same thing into the frequency domain, then actually you are going to get the advantage of making the differential equation into a polynomial equation. So that is the main advantage you are going to get it, even with the Fourier series as well. So once you get the polynomial equation, then there are techniques like inverse Fourier transforms and also the inverse Laplace transforms techniques for the analysis purpose, and then actually finally bringing back to the original domain. And those things actually we are going to learn as part of this Fourier analysis and the Laplace analysis. Got it? And then actually, so there is another thing called Z transform. So Z transform is nothing but for the same thing whatever we do for the Laplace transform for a continuous signal, if the same thing actually if you do it for the discrete signal, that is what we call as the Z transforms, right? So this topic is actually purely mathematics and straight away easy topic actually. And then actually transfer function. So transfer function is nothing but the output by input ratio is called as the transfer function. So whenever there is a system will always have certain inputs and certain outputs. The relation between the output and input straight away, if you bring it as a block, that block actually is called as the transfer function. So this actually for different systems, actually we will have to model it, and this itself is nothing but the differential equation. So this differential equation you may represent in the mathematical domain as the differential equation, or the same thing actually you can convert into the Laplace domain, and then actually you can say that as a, so again actually that can be called as a differential equation, so or the transfer function. So depending upon your convenience, actually you can select any of the method, and then actually still you can model as the transfer function or actually a differential equation model. That is up to you. And then actually sampling and recovery of signals. So that is actually whenever we are giving a discrete signal or actually any particular signal, we were talking about the time domain signals. So time domain signals meaning with respect to time, actually it is keep on changing. That means actually, so there is a continuous, so signals actually it is keep on generated and actually it's keep on going forever. In that case, actually you need to be sampling it and then actually taking it and giving as input to the system. Now, whether you are going to give the continuous signal, then actually that is a straight away the continuous signal, you can take it like a sinusoidal waveform. But if it is a discrete signal, then actually where to sample it, so that actually you can exactly replicate the signal, and with what frequency we need to sample it. So such kind of things actually we are going to study as part of the sampling and recovery of the signals. And discrete Fourier transform and fast Fourier transform, processing of analog signals through discrete time systems, right? So this is also actually for different systems, actually we were taking the analysis with the help of the Fourier transforms and the fast Fourier transforms, like the same way we did for the Laplace transform. We are going to do the analysis with the different type of mathematical model, that is the discrete Fourier transforms and the fast Fourier transform. So this is the completely whatever we are going to study. It's a single, or actually it's just a two-word topic, that is signals and systems. That's it. Signals is nothing but a function with different variations, and the systems are nothing but the mathematical model of an existing system, but systems can be of infinite variations. But all those infinite variations actually we don't be studying, but in that actually we will be taking the linear time invariant systems. We'll be studying that particular system with different kind of input signals, and for the study purpose actually we will be using the Laplace transform, Fourier transforms, Z transform, and discrete Fourier transform and the fast Fourier transforms. So this is the complete study what we are going to do it. Got it? So is this understood? Any questions? So related to the books, right? So there are many books actually that are available, and many people actually might suggest Openham. So Openham actually is one particular book, but actually, if you are a fresher to this particular subject, I don't suggest that Openham. Rather than that, so there is one book called Ganesh Rao. Right? So Ganesh Rao, Signals and Systems. So this book actually is very easy to study because there is nothing new you are going to learn. If you make the subject too complicated, then actually you might be confused. In the Openham, actually you will find that there is a little bit of difficulty in understanding. So that's actually I suggest Ganesh Rao so that you can easily study this particular subject. Got it? Any other questions? So weightage is for 50 marks, and the book is the Ganesh Rao or the. So if you are pretty comfortable with Ganesh Rao, that's okay. Or if you wanted to go advanced level, then actually Openham actually we can take it, and then actually this is the syllabus what we are going to study. The book, okay. Let me show you. Right? Okay. So this book actually is the Openham, right? Signals and Systems. So this is a foreign author, Signals and Systems, second edition. So Alan V. Openham and Alan S. Wilsky, right? So this is the book for Openham, and Ganesh Rao actually this is an Indian author. So I suggest actually Indian author. Even UPSC also prefer only Indian authors. So this is actually so Dr. D. Ganesh Rao. He is from MS Ramaya Institute of Technology, Bangalore. So that's why actually this book actually I suggest, and this works very well, I think. Got it? Right. So these two books I am talking about, but preferably Ganesh Rao. This one actually I prefer. So this one actually this is a little advanced level. Right. Okay. Right. So this is the thing, and then actually we will see some of the previous year questions also, so that actually we will get an idea what kind of questions actually that are asked. Then according to that actually we can continue our preparation. No, I don't have it for all. So that's why actually I didn't post it. Okay. Anyway, see this. So this is in 2015. Find the Z transform of sine omega t. So this is a straightforward question. He asked us to find out the Z transform for f of t is equal to sine omega t, and find the Laplace transform of the function f of t is equal to 2 into e power minus t cos 10 t minus t power 4 plus 6 into e power minus t minus 10 for t greater than 0. So this is also a straightforward question. This is for 10 marks and this is for 20 marks. I don't know the reason why it was asked for 20 marks. So this is a straight away simple problem, right? And the transfer function of the system C of s by R of s is equal to s plus 3 divided by s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. Find out the impulse response of the system. So this is also a straightforward question. So without actually even starting this particular subject, you should be able to answer all these three questions. Because actually, so at least actually, except for this Z transforms, actually both of these questions actually I have already covered as part of Laplace transforms. Got it? And then this one, see this. So this is in 2016. Determine the overall impulse response h of n of the system shown in the figure 1b below, given that, right? So this is the function actually it was given. So first actually we need to model this as the equivalent transfer function model, and then actually he has given the discrete function. So the functions whatever we have given is a discrete impulse response. So we will have to find out the L inverse value, but with the discrete signals, right? So this actually we need to be studying. So we have not studied this yet. We are going to study this, right? Right. So these are actually simply the transfer functions are there, and these transfer functions actually we will have to find out the equivalent transfer function, and then actually we need to find out the inverse transform. So here actually we will have to use the Z transform, I think, right? So being it is the discrete function, we will have to use the Z transform. And consider a continuous time linear time invariant system for which the input x of t and the output y of t are related by the differential equation given by d square y by dt square minus dy by dt minus 2y is equal to x. Determine the impulse response h of t of the system for the following cases by plotting pole zero pattern, right? Now here actually first we need to model this as a differential equation into the Laplace domain. That is the first thing we need to do it. And then next you can identify the poles and zeros of this particular function for the transfer function. The poles are the one actually the denominator which makes it 0, those are all the poles, and the numerator if it makes 0, those are all the locations we call as the zeros. So that actually we need to be identifying. And then actually, so the system is causal. So when we study the system, right? So there are different types of systems. So in that actually causal system is one type, and linear time invariant system is another type. Like that actually there are different types of systems. So we will be studying this down the line. And then actually the system is stable. Right, so there is a mistake in this, I think, in this statement. So maybe he asks us to find out whether the system is stable or not. If it is stable, then actually what is the location of the poles? So maybe that is how it needs to be asked. The system is neither stable nor causal, right? Okay, anyway, so down the line actually we'll study this, and then let us see. Determine the signal causal signal x of n having its Z transform x of z is equal to 1 by 1 plus Z inverse into 1 plus Z inverse of whole square. And this one actually determine the causal signal x of n having the Z transform, this one, right? So he asks us to find out the signal from the Z transform. And then, so this is a continuous time signal x of t is shown in figure. Sketch and label each of the following signals. So x of t into u of 2 minus t. So this signal actually needs to be sketched. So the graph needs to be represented. So you have to identify how to draw the graph for a different type of unit signals if it is multiplied with the x. So this actually we need to understand this. So this I think I have already explained when I explained the Laplace transform. So this is actually x of t into delta of t minus 7 by 2. So this is also actually an impulse response at 7 by 2. And for that actually this functional value actually we need to plot. So this is actually one thing. Then, so this is the x of t value. So x of t is actually given in this particular case. Then x of t if you multiply with u of t minus 2, then what is the function? And x of t if it is multiplied with the delta of t minus 7 by 2. So 7 by 2 is nothing but 3 by 2. So 3.5, right? So you can easily guess what is this particular signal actually. So this is this one, the second one, x of t into delta of t minus 7 by 2. What is the value, or actually how we should draw the graph? No, it's not 0. If you notice, so t minus 3 by 3.5. So that means exactly at 3.5 this particular location, right? So at this particular location 3.5, the functional value is this one, right? So this is the functional value. Before that and after that actually there is no functional value. So because actually you have multiplied with the delta of t minus 7 by 2. So exactly at t is equal to 7 by 2, there actually the function value needs to be multiplied because this is equal to 1 at that particular location. And at remaining locations actually there won't be any graph at all because actually the delta function is 0 before that and afterwards also it is 0, and this is the way actually you just need to represent for this particular function. And similarly, x of t, u of 2 minus t. Now see this 2 minus t, if you equate to 0, then actually t is equal to 2 is that particular location, right? So at t is equal to 2, there is going to be a change for this particular function. And 2 minus t, as you keep on increase the value of t, then actually you are going to get the negative value within it, right? Negative value. If you decrease the t value to minus infinity, or actually t is equal to 1 and t is equal to 0, t is equal to minus 1 and minus 2, if you keep on increase it, then u of inside value is going to be a positive value. Now the unit step function actually you will be defining for the inside value as the positive value. That means exactly at t is equal to 2 at this particular location. At this particular location, what happens is this is the functional graph. So this is the functional graph. Right side actually there won't be anything, but left side actually this graph is repeated. That means the graph from here to here, and suddenly it falls 0, and then actually it will continue 0. So this is the graph actually you need to draw, right? So Shaksham Tiwari, so what is your doubt? Why it is no? Why it has to start from t is equal to 4? But I don't think that is correct. So based on my understanding, so let me explain my way of analysis. Suppose actually if there is any graph, u of t is actually defined in this particular manner. So this is actually u of t, and u of t minus a is the way actually we have defined this is. So if this is a, then u of t minus a. So this is how actually we define it, right? And then actually u of a minus t, that is actually inverse of it, right? So on to this side actually it will come, but not the y-axis mirror image. It has to be x-axis mirror image, right? So it will come onto this side. Now this location actually, so whenever we shift the coordinate axis to any particular location, then actually it has to be t minus a, right? Whatever is there here actually 2 minus t, this needs to be equated to 0. 2 minus t equated to 0, and t is equal to 2 is the origin point now. T is equal to 2. Now this is onto the minus t direction. So because actually that is minus t actually will lead to the positive value. That means the unit step function of u of t minus 2 minus t is defined in this particular manner. So this is how actually the unit step function is defined for u of t minus 2. Now this is actually 1 because actually unit step function. So this is being 1. If you multiply with this function for any of the function, after this actually it is 0, and before that is going to be of 1. So from here onwards, this side you need to multiply with 0, this side you need to multiply with 1. That means whatever the graph we see it here, so this will be there as it is onto the left side. From right side onwards it will be 0, and from here onwards anyway the functional value is 0. Even if you multiply with 0 with 1, it won't make any difference. Got it? So this is actually anyway down the line actually we are going to discuss all these things. So discuss the properties of a probability density function. What additional features a normal distribution has? So this is actually related to completely statistics. I think we need to touch the statistics as well in this particular topic. But don't you think this is out of syllabus? So because nowhere it was mentioned actually. So this is, he is asking about the probability distribution functions. Yeah, maybe true. I think so. Maybe from the communications actually we have mixed it this particular topic. I don't think it is from this topic. Yeah. So find the Laplace transform of f of t is equal to u of sine 2t. U of sine 2t. Right. So this actually we need to be finding out the Laplace transform, and then actually determine the transfer function, and therefrom the impulse response of the casual linear time invariant system described by the difference equation given by this particular one, right? So this actually he has given a difference equation This is the one actually we call this as the difference equation. So there is something called, so forward differences and backward differences actually we are going to learn as part of numerical analysis in mathematics. So that topic actually we have to be a little bit aware of this to understand this difference equations. And this anyway we will discuss down the line. Find the Laplace transform of the periodic function. So this actually I have already covered. And determine and sketch the convolution of the two signals given below. So this actually the signals were given. So x of t and h of t. And then actually we need to identify the convolution of these two signals. So there is the product of these things we need to be identifying, right? And then find the Laplace transform of the following signals. So this also actually we have already studied the Laplace transform of this particular function. So then actually we are going to do it. And then an LTI system is characterized by the following difference equations: y of n minus 3 by 4 y of n minus 1 plus 1 by 8 y of n minus 2 is equal to 2 into x of n. So this is actually an LTI system, and this is actually characterized by a difference equation. And he asked us to find the impulse response of the system if the input to the system is given by this one, right? Now, two different problems. So one is actually you need to be finding out the impulse response. That is, the impulse response straight away the L inverse of this value, but in the discrete format, or Z inverse of it. And then actually if the input to the system is x of n is equal to 1 by 4 whole power n into u of n, then actually what is the output you are going to expect. So that actually with the help of the difference equation and Z transforms actually we will have to use it, and then actually identify the output. Find the frequency response of the output y of j omega and y of n. Right. So for the same thing, actually, he asked us to identify the frequency response and find the Z transform of the signal g of n is equal to mod n a power mod n. Also find the ROC. So this actually we need to study. I'm not aware of. That's it. Right. So these are all the things actually we are going to see. If you notice, actually most of the things are actually he asked us to find out either the Laplace transform or Z transform and the inverse of those things and the convolution of those things for different types of systems. So this is the summary if you notice all these things, right? Understood? So basically this is a mathematics topic to identify Z transform, Fourier transform and Laplace transform, apply the convolution theorem to identify the inverse of it, and for different signals, maybe impulse response, maybe a different kind of signal, and whose response we need to be finding out with L inverse or Z inverse techniques. That's it. So this is how actually this is being a very simple topic. I don't think much time actually it will take it. So I will quickly cover all these topics. Got it? Any questions you can ask me now. All right. Okay, fine. So we will start the classes actually from the next class onwards. So I don't think it will take much time. Hardly, I think maximum 10 to 15 classes I'll finish this topic. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.